Tamar Braxton is right now in the hospital fighting for her life because apparently there's been some reports that for everybody to pray for Tamar and her family. And this girl tweeted back, oh, who is she fighting now? And I just, man, it just makes me so upset when people have no compassion, man. Like none. Like, this girl's in the hospital fighting for her life. That's what she's fighting for. And it's real life. This ain't reality TV.
Atlanta nights are rarely calm, but this particular evening was louder, darker, and more dangerous than anyone could have anticipated as the sun dipped behind the skyline. No one expected the shocking headlines the next morning that featured Tamar Braxton, hospitalized, injured, and revealing that she had narrowly survived. Her face was fractured, her teeth gone, and her reputation tangled with Yandy Smith, Mendeecees Harris, Funky Denver, and the ever-present shadow of Cousin Kesha. The night seemed to start innocently enough, or so it appeared. Tamar Braxton was glowing as she sat across from her longtime friend Funky Denver at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Laughter filled the air, glasses clinked, and Instagram snippets painted the scene as perfect. To the fans watching online, it was simply Tamar being her usual energetic self, sipping wine and sharing jokes. But Atlanta knows better. In this city, the atmosphere can change in an instant. Smiles turn into glares, whispers become rumors, and a casual dinner can quickly end with someone in a hospital bed. And that's precisely what happened. When Tamar Braxton and Funky Denver entered V12 Lounge after dinner, the vibe shifted dramatically. Inside, amid flashing lights and pounding music, was Mendeecees Harris. Yes, Mendeecees Harris, the husband of Yandy Smith, a man who built his brand by staying silent. For years, gossip blogs and fan pages have linked his name to cheating, betrayal, and whispers of shady behavior. But his strategy has always been to remain silent, ride out the storm, and let the women around him absorb the fallout. That night, though, silence wasn't enough. Witnesses claim Tamar Braxton and Mendeecees Harris were leaning in too close, heads tilted together, their voices low, and fingers brushing just enough to raise suspicions. The mood wasn't professional, it was loaded with tension. And in Atlanta, that kind of energy never goes unnoticed. Where there's Mendeecees Harris, there's always Yandy Smith, the poised queen who plays a long game. The strategist who uses silence like no one else. When Yandy Smith walked into the lounge, the entire atmosphere changed. Picture it, Tamar Braxton laughing too loudly, sitting too close to Mendeecees Harris, basking in the club lights as if they were her own. Then, Yandy Smith enters, calm, flawless, and radiating an unspoken threat that needed no words. The music was blaring, but it was the weight of her stare that everyone felt. The room split. Some say Tamar Braxton smirked first, trying to brush off the tension, while others insist Yandy Smith went straight for her. Either way, a confrontation was inevitable. "You got a problem?" Tamar Braxton allegedly snapped, her voice slicing through the heavy bass. "Do I?" Yandy Smith replied, steady and sharp, her gaze cutting through the room like a blade. Phones shot up instantly. Drinks froze mid-air. Everyone in that lounge knew they were about to witness something unforgettable. A clash so intense it could no longer stay private. It was too explosive to ignore. As usual, Mendeecees Harris leaned back in silence, letting the women burn through the chaos while he remained untouched in the smoke. The nights in Atlanta are usually full of energy, but this particular evening was even more intense, darker, and more dangerous than anyone anticipated. When the sun went down and the headlines broke the next morning, no one could have predicted that Tamar Braxton's name would be front and center, hospitalized, severely injured, and claiming she nearly lost her life. Her face was fractured, her teeth were missing, and her reputation was tangled with Yandy Smith, Mendeecees Harris, Funky Denver, and, of course, Cousin Kesha. The evening had started off harmlessly enough, or at least it appeared so. Tamar Braxton was radiant, seated across from her longtime friend Funky Denver at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Laughter filled the air, glasses clinked, and Instagram stories made the night look picture-perfect. For the fans watching, it was just Tamar being her usual larger-than-life self, sipping wine and cracking jokes. But in Atlanta, things can change in the blink of an eye. Smiles turn to glares, whispers become rumors, and a casual dinner can quickly spiral into a hospital bed. And that's exactly what happened. When Tamar and Funky Denver arrived at V12 Lounge after their dinner, the atmosphere shifted dramatically. Inside, amid flashing lights and the thumping bass, was Mendeecees Harris. Yes, Mendez Harris, the husband of Yandy Smith, a man who has always preferred to stay silent amidst the rumors, allowing others to take the heat for his alleged actions. His strategy has always been to keep quiet, let the storm pass, and avoid confrontation. But that night, silence wasn't enough. Witnesses claimed Tamar Braxton and Mendez Harris were leaning in far too close, heads tilted together, their voices low, fingers brushing just enough to make people notice. The mood wasn't businesslike. It felt more like something personal and intense. And in Atlanta, no tension like that goes unnoticed. Where Mendez Harris is concerned, there's always Yandy Smith, calm, composed, and the master of strategy. When she walked into that lounge, the entire room felt different. Tamar was laughing loudly, sitting too close to Mendez, basking in the club's lights like they belonged to her. Then Yandy entered, flawless and exuding a silent, unspoken threat. As loud as the music was, it was the weight of her gaze that everyone felt. The room split. Some say Tamar smirked first, trying to brush it off, while others say Yandy went straight for her. Either way, a confrontation was imminent. "Do you have a problem?" Tamar allegedly snapped, her voice cutting through the bass. "Do I?" Yandy responded, sharp and calm, her eyes slicing across the room. Phones were out in an instant. Drinks stopped mid-pour. Everyone in that lounge knew they were about to witness a moment of Atlanta history. A showdown that could no longer stay private. It was too explosive to ignore. Mendez Harris, as always, remained silent, letting the women clash while he stayed untouchable. The silence of Yandy Smith and the fake laughter from Funky Denver set the stage for the streets to tell their own version of the story. Tamar Braxton was involved with Mendez Harris, and once Yandy Smith found out, cousin Kesha stepped in, leading to Tamar Braxton being hospitalized. Now the questions grow louder. Did Tamar's collapse result from exhaustion, or did Yandy's cousin play a role? Did Mendez Harris know more than his letting on, or is his silence the real clue? And is Funky Denver using humor to cover up the truth? In Atlanta, silence isn't about hiding the truth, it's the truth itself. By now, the entire city knew that Tamar Braxton had gone from the club scene to the hospital in just a matter of hours. But the real question that lingered was whether it was an accident or if revenge disguised itself as a coincidence. The more Tamar stayed quiet, the louder the streets became. And this time, they weren't whispering, they were yelling one thing over and over. Yandy knew, Mendez was there, and cousin Kesha showed up. When Tamar's teeth were gone and her face was fractured, fans didn't ask why, they asked how. How did Yandy manage all of this without saying a word? How did Mendez stay silent while everything fell apart? And how did Funky Denver turn a bloody situation into a joke? The answer the streets came up with was simple. Cousin Kesha showed up. Yandy Smith's silence is her strength. She doesn't need to confirm, deny, or explain. Her cousin does all the talking for her. Fans have seen it time and again. Yandy wants to stay above it all, but cousin Kesha's presence speaks volumes. She doesn't need to post, rant, or explain herself. Her mere presence is her weapon. Then there's Mendez Harris, the man at the center of it all. He leaned in too close to Tamar Braxton, and without saying a word, he set off the chaos. Fans tore into him, questioning why he didn't speak if he was innocent. If he didn't leave with Tamar, why not prove it? If he cared for Yandy, why not defend her? Mendez Harris has been accused of cheating and hiding behind Yandy's image for years, and his silence continues to be his defense mechanism. For some, it seemed like cowardice. For others, it was a calculated move. To fans, his silence only added fuel to the fire. Then there's Funky Denver, the friend who was supposed to protect Tamar Braxton but instead turned her trauma into a joke. When the world expected him to stand up for her, he made light of it. Instead of offering answers, he posted parodies, mocking himself and accusing himself of ridiculous things. Fans weren't amused. They saw it as deflection, and they called him out for using humor to cover up what was really happening. While Tamar Braxton lay in a hospital bed with missing teeth, Funky Denver made jokes about himself, accusing himself of ludicrous actions. The immediate outrage was palpable. How could he laugh when Tamar herself claimed she almost died? One fan tweeted, "How can you laugh when Tamar Braxton said she almost died?" While another said, "This is deflection." Many accused Funky Denver of protecting Mendez Harris and Yandy Smith, and his own admission didn't help his case. He revealed that Tamar had texted him the morning after the incident, saying, "I lost 4 teeth. Can you send me a dentist for teeth gone in a single night?" Instead of reacting with concern or rushing to her side, Funky Denver just shrugged it off. Fans saw this not as loyalty but as betrayal. Perhaps he was shielding Mendez or Yandy, or maybe he was protecting his own interests. So now, Tamar's silence, Mendez's silence, Yandy's silence, and Funky Denver's fake laughter all combine into one undeniable truth. The streets have told their own story. The verdict is clear. Tamar was seen with Mendez, Yandy found out, cousin Kesha stepped in, and Tamar ended up in the hospital. The hashtags on Twitter say it all. #Kesha pulled up, #Yandy vs Tamar, #Mendeecees, #blooded Tamar. TikTok reenactments went viral, and the internet exploded with memes and captions, with one reading, "Don't play with her man unless you're ready for cousin Kesha." But what makes this scandal more than just gossip is that it's not only about Tamar's missing teeth, Yandy's silence, Mendez's muteness, or Funky Denver's jokes. This situation highlights the blurred line between reality TV and real life. On shows like Love and Hip Hop, fights and betrayals are edited into dramatic storylines, but this time it was raw, real blood, real pain, real hospital lights. The audience consumed it like content, laughing, speculating, and spreading it like entertainment. Tamar's pain became public fodder. Yandy's silence became a strategic move. Mendez's silence fueled the fire. Funky Denver's laughter went viral. And that's the true tragedy. Real life turned into a storyline. In the midst of it all, one name stood out, cousin Kesha. Even though she wasn't on TV or social media, her reputation overshadowed everything. Fans knew that Yandy Smith didn't fight her battles directly, she had cousin Kesha for that. So, when Tamar was found broken and bloody, the streets didn't need confirmation. They knew. They said it with certainty. Kesha pulled up. Case closed. Now, here we are. Tamar remains silent. Mendez remains silent. Yandy remains silent. Funky Denver continues to laugh, and cousin Kesha hasn't said a word. But her silence speaks louder than anything. The question remains, what really happened that night? Was it a tragic accident, or was it revenge carried out in the shadows of silence? In Atlanta, silence isn't empty. Silence is power. Silence is survival. Silence is strategy. And in this case, silence is the loudest confession of all.